I'm Emily Amick,
And I'm Joe Piazza.
and we've got issues.
And so do you. We all do.
And our country certainly does.
And that is why we're here to give you a weekly dose of the news you need to know without all the cringe, the exaggeration, or the hype.
We're here to keep you informed, but also to give you hope because we all deserve hope.
Each episode, we are going to take one or two topics and help you break it all down for what it means for you without the BS.
Okay, so it is post-debate day, so obviously we have to talk all about the debate. Joe, do you usually watch debates? Were you excited to watch this?
I do usually watch debates. I mean, I was a political journalist for a long time, so I've been to a lot of debates. I've covered a lot of debates. And so I was very, very excited. Also, I'm in Philadelphia, so the city was pretty pumped about this. The Harris campaign did a pretty good job with their posters, literally on every available surface with the cheesiest Philadelphia shit on them. It was like, Philly is Wit Harris, which is, a nod to wit cheese on our cheesesteaks.
Okay.
So I would say like the city was pumped. Although I had a lot of friends who didn't watch it, who were like, I can't, I'm too nervous. It's going to give me too much anxiety and stress. And also it was at 9:00, which is like real past my bedtime.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit I often do not watch debates. I find them very stressful, and I figure I can just read about them and watch clips. Which I think is a very common way. It's like a lot of listening. And the Biden-Trump debate stressed me out to the max. And it was like the worst version of an awkward cringe movie, which you can't watch.
Totally.
And I was just like, no, I'm watching America crumble in front of my eyes. I can't do this.
It's true. But we watched last night and we did a live chat on your Substack, on the Emily in Your Phone Substack, which was actually great. Like
it made it so much more fun.
I felt like we were in a community of just like really smart, funny women for an hour and a half, and so that made me love the debate. And you can do that. It's over at the Emily in Your Phone Substack if you want to join. We're going to keep it open, I think, because people are very hungry for a place to talk too that isn't just Instagram.
Right. That isn't where we're going to have like weirdos come in and put in weird memes and sex stuff.
Yes.
Which is what always happens.
No one put in weird memes or sex stuff. I put in one grumpy cat picture because I really do think that Trump looked exactly like Grumpy Cat last night.
I was a little bit obsessed with the memes that like Don Jr. is putting out. Okay, so to take a step backwards, one of the things, Donald Trump is one of those people that he often gets caught on like the last thing that's discussed with him. And so there was this conspiracy going around the conservative movement, MAGA people, that Haitian immigrants are eating people's cats and dogs in Springfield, Ohio. This is not a thing that is happening, right? Like this is
no.
It's just
it's not happening.
It's a conspiracy.
No. Yeah, eating cats and dogs is like crazier to me than Pizzagate was. Right?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's more deeply rooted in like racist and xenophobic tropes than Pizzagate, which was like so out of left field. But Trump obviously heard about this. It got in his brainworm. He maybe got one from RFK Jr. I don't know. And so he started talking about this. But clearly Don Jr. is one of the people who has been feeding him this. And Don Jr. was posting like AI generated memes of Donald Trump hugging baby animals during the debate. And it's so like Facebook uncle coded, you know what I mean? And I'm like, so I was a little bit obsessed with that. And I do get distracted by cute animals. And so it was like a combination of cute animals and just like watching the train wreck that is the Trump administration.
Well, we had a bunch of kids in our house watching the debate for the first hour. We kept them up past their bedtime from about age 7 to 11. And they really caught on that eating dogs and cats things. They're like, is that true? And I was like, no. And they're like, well, that's because Donald Trump's a liar. And I'm like, kids are so smart.
They pick up what's being put down. So, I mean, to get to the meat of the thing, I thought Kamala Harris did a great job. The first minute she was a little nervous. She really wanted to come out the gate strong with her economic plan, which I thought was really interesting. It was really interesting during the Substack conversation. There were still people saying like, where's her policy? And I was like, She actually is talking about it. We all just
Mm-hmm.
don't notice it because we pay attention to the drama because that is human nature. And so we are like a self-fulfilling prophecy of only paying attention to things we say we don't want to talk about. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, she came out the gate, she tried to focus on policy and was a little nervous. But then when she sort of stepped into her prosecutor shoes and she was able to try to lure Trump into anger, I think that's where she really hit her stride.
Oh yeah, she did. She did. I think they both came out a little nervous in the beginning. They both like he wasn't like on his A game for the first three
He
or
was
four
down.
minutes either.
He was really
down.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah. And so, but no, I mean, I think she did a amazing job. I think the internet, everyone agrees. I mean, she really, really just hit at all of his weaknesses in a way that I think we've wanted people to hit at in a long time, but the Democrats have always played so nice. And, you know, she was also prepped by so many smart people. Like she had a big team prepping her. And she said all the things that we've just been waiting for someone to say to him in person.
But I think what's important is she didn't just merely fact check him. Because what lots of people have been saying is like, I want him fact checked. She didn't just do that. She contextualized. She said, you know, you always lie. You make these big things. You say things that you're going to do and you don't do them. I think the banner moment of the whole event is when they were talking about, they were trying to pin him down on repealing Obamacare and replacing it with something, right? Which is something he has been talking about since 2015, constantly ad nauseum. And like, they were like, is it good? He was like, Obamacare sucks. And they were like, so what are you going to do? And he goes, well, I have a concept of a plan. And they're like, do you have a plan? He's like, I have a concept of a plan. When we come up with the plan, we'll replace it. And it's like, my bud, it's been like a decade. What have you been doing?
What have you been doing? What have you been doing? I mean, she really just, she emasculated him. I mean, did you read Jess Bennett's piece in the
No, not yet.
Times about how to diminish a former president?
No.
I mean, it's just so good because Kamala hit him where we know it hurts him, right? So crowd sizes. Crowd sizes. The fact that he was fired by millions of Americans. Like she used the language that he can't handle, and you could see him bristle at it. And also all of the Republican men and generals, the strong men who rejected him, and her talking about his love letters to foreign dictators. Like the language matters. And she just did it so smartly to hit him just like a million paper cuts where we all know that it would get him like right in his ego.
The dictator thing that she walked him into was honestly wild. The fact that he took that bait and just went with it and talked about how much he loves them.
Yes.
It was,
and how much they love him.
They love him.
That's when it got weird. It got weird. Okay.
The other thing that was so interesting was he kept talking about how proud he is that he had to hire and fire people, and how like Kamala and Biden don't fire people, and it's like, my bud, this is a cell phone. You're saying like you hire such terrible people that they nearly immediately need to be fired. This is not something to be proud of.
You're bad at HR.
Right.
Okay. That's just fine.
You pull around other horrible people at their jobs to join you.
Yeah. You don't know how to run a business. And I mean, she also talked about that. She talked about his bankruptcies. Again, a thing that he doesn't like brought up, because he doesn't like his failures brought up. And that's what she really, really hit home with.
So I think one of the things that we didn't see her talk a lot about were tons of social policy issues. We heard a lot about abortion, which was, I think, really exciting. But we did hear about guns. We didn't hear about LGBTQ rights. We did hear about climate change. So I thought it was interesting. She was really focused on the opportunity economy and the economy. And I think what it shows is, you know, the debate is about the 6% of voters in the 6 states who are going to decide the 2024 election. It wasn't about the rest of us.
That? I want you to explain that to our listeners really quick, because I think that's so interesting. Like, who's going to decide?
And it is peculiar, and I think people find it very upsetting, and it's sort of just an unfortunate reality, right? The Electoral College means that the sort of take it or leave it state by state nature of the Electoral College means there's only, well, now it's a bit more than 6 states, but there are only a small amount of states that are up for grabs. The rest are either calcified as blue or calcified as red. And so if you are up for grabs, that means people want to. But the vast majority of voters have already decided who they're voting for. There's about 6% of voters in those states who are swing voters, who are truly undecided voters. And undecided voters are like a really, really weird group of people. I think people like to think of them as quote unquote independents who are like centrists, but that's not usually the case. They're usually just disengaged people, right? Like, or people who lack really bucketable sets of opinions, who just care about a few very random things. But a lot of the current polling research that's coming out of both campaigns, what we're hearing is that it's really a focus on kitchen table issues. And this is, of course, every election, but that in particular for these undecided voters who, another interesting component of this when you think about it is people who sit farther on the wings are the most moralistic voters. So the people who care most about social issues, cultural issues, moral policy, and view everything through a moral lens, those are the people who sit on the farthest ends of the wings. So the closer you get to the middle, the less moralistic they become, the more transactional they become, the more it's about the price of eggs. And so a lot of what, Kamala Harris was trying to do last night, and she regularly addressed the audience. She regularly talked about you. This is about affecting how it's going to affect you and your life, because she was trying to talk directly to those 6% of voters in the 6 swing states, say a couple more, because we're adding Florida, Texas, North Carolina, in those states, and trying to say, this is how my opportunity agenda is going to affect you. Because what Republicans have done really well since the Reagan era is message on the economy as if their economic policy helps normal people, when in fact what Trump's economic policy does is help corporations and rich people. But Democrats have consistently been very bad at messaging on economic policy.
Yeah, exactly. And do you think the Democrats are getting better at messaging generally? I mean, I will say I often think that they're bad at both messaging and branding. And since she has come on board, I think that they've gotten better.
And I do want to take a note to say, right at this time, live, Poppy, my puppy, is destroying a second pair of Crocs. I see it. It's a mere 3 feet away from me. Poppy,
you know what you should do, Emily? You should eat that dog. You should eat that dog. Okay? That's a dog that deserves to be served up for dinner.
Those are my Vera Bradley Crocs right there.
I
Vera
love
Bradley.
Those Crocs.
Poppy, can you not? Can you not? She's literally eating it on top of one of her toys.
It's a condiment, is what it is.
It is.
Crocs are a freaking condiment. All right. Well,
what was the question?
I forget.
I forget too.
Let's take a hot break. When we get back, there's 2 things that I really want to talk about. One, the most important development to wake up to this morning, which was Taylor fucking Swift. I mean, even my kids, like, they heard it when we were listening on NPR, and my son starts jumping up and down. He's 7, and he's like, "This is going to change the election," and I'm like, the fact that you know that. Yeah.
He's a little mini commentator. And then the other thing we have to talk about is guns.
We have to talk about guns. And then I just want to have like a little dose of like some of the weird stuff he said. I mean, I just made the joke about the dogs and stuff. Like, he said some weird stuff.
Weird. He's a weird dude. The internet cooks your brain.
Totes. So do tanning beds. Okay. So, and toupees, I guess. I don't know. I think, the funniest thing, that time that I was talking to Gloria Steinem in her apartment recently, she was like, that toupee, it's been cooking his brain. It's been cooking his brain for so long. And I'm like, yes, it has, Gloria. Yes, it has.
Sniffing the glue.
Think about that. Yeah, sniffing the glue. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay. Oh wait, are you going to fix Poppy? Okay. Hello. Okay. And all right, we're back, and we're gonna talk about Taylor. I did not see this coming. It was a great joy. When did you find this out? Because you were, I saw it on your Instagram. That was where I first saw it.
I started getting DMs being like, Taylor. Everyone was forwarding me because Taylor Swift posted an Instagram She made an Instagram post, and it's a photo of her holding one of her cats. Someone should tell me what that cat's name is, because I don't know her cat's names. And
Wait, is that her cat? I thought that was Grumpy Cat. It really looked like Grumpy Cat.
no, I think that's one of her cats. But you know what? She has Scottish folds. You're right. That might be someone else's cat, but I'm not sure. And then there was a long caption which explained why she is endorsing Harris Waltz, and in particular, her frustration with Trump using AI imagery to imply that she was endorsing him. And then she signs it, Taylor Swift, a childless cat lady, which is, I think, so funny.
Cat lady. Oh, I mean, she just freaking nailed it. Okay, can we actually? I want to read her her statement because it was really smart. And I also think that, look, we were talking about 6% of voters in a small number of states. I think that Taylor Swift could sway some undecideds. I genuinely do. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the groups of people who are in this bucket of undecideds are young people who are registering to vote for the first time or who have never voted before. And there's a lot of apathy, especially amongst Gen Z. And one of the things about her base is it's also women. And what we are seeing, and we're going to be talking about this more, is how the election is going to be exceptionally gendered. And it's going to be the girls versus boys election. And so getting out more of these young women who trend significantly more liberal than the young men who are trending incel, who are trending super MAGA Andrew Tate, is super important. And before you read it, the other thing I'll note is, like, the Harris campaign knew what was up and immediately posted friendship bracelets for sale on their campaign site.
Oh, wait, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really? Shut up.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, of course, like, I mean, I'm never surprised, right? Like, I mean, I know how this works. Like, I know, like, the internal workings of campaign. I just think it's so important to always remember it, and also remember just, like, general connections, right? Like, of course, the Swift people gave them a heads up. They knew this was coming, and they merged it out. And, that's what you do, okay? That's what you do. All right, I'm going to read this. Like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. Guys, my Taylor Swift voice is total shit. But if you haven't already, now is a great time to do your research on the issues at hand and the stances these candidates take on the topics that matter to you the most. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Recently, I was made aware that AI of me falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run was posted to his site. It really conjured up my fears around AI and the dangers of spreading misinformation. Me too, Taylor. Me too. I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 president election. I'm voting for Kamala because she fights for the rights and because I believe we need a warrior to champion them. I think she is steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are led by calm and not chaos. I've done my research and I've made my choice. With love and hope, Taylor Swift, childless cat lady.
I love it. And one of the things that I was seeing the Swifties talk about on TikTok is they were like, that's Taylor. That's our girl. She wrote that. Tree Paint, she did not write that. No PR flack wrote that. Those are her words. And I think it's from the heart. And, there's been so much agita from the commentariat about, like, when Taylor is going to endorse. Is it going to be November 1st? It's too late. It's too early. I think September 10th, after the debate, it was great. I think this is plenty of time to impact the election. Early voting hasn't started yet. She is doing it. And I think it's one of those things that is going to drive the Trump campaign absolutely bonkers, because they hate to see a powerful woman.
Yes, they hate a powerful woman. They hate a childless cat lady. I mean, I think everything about it was perfect. I want to tell my girlfriends that were so nervous about watching the debate last night, and I texted them when it was over, and I texted them this morning. I was like, we should all feel good right now. I genuinely think, like, we have to work. We still have to work hard to make sure this happens. We still have to be having conversations with people in those states. I think that's the best thing we can do. If you know anyone in these states, to reach out to them and just try to talk to them, because what we do know is that conversations matter, right?
Right. I mean, conversations between people who already know each other are the most effective form of political communication. The other thing we haven't talked about is J.D. Vance and how Trump was so mean to his little buddy.
He was so mean to his little buddy. Like, I just, like, really, like, threw him under the bus. Yeah. To the extent that if I were JD, I'd be like, you know what? I'm just getting off this sinking ship right now. I'm done.
Because I mean, I hope this destroys JD's political career. I hope he loses his Senate seat because of this. But there never seems to be consequences for men like that. But, so there was a lot of discussion trying to nail Trump down on whether he would sign a national abortion ban. And they got him on record saying some really great things, because he essentially said, no, it should be left with the states. No, I won't sign. He kept trying to say a national abortion ban will never happen. It'll never happen. And
what is Poppy eating right now?
Poppy's now eating her toy because I took away the Crocs. Is it very loud? Can you hear the crunching?
Let's take away Poppy's
toy.
Yeah, let's take it away from her.
It's little piggy.
That's really annoying. Oh my god, that's the most annoying. Get it? Oh god,
it's a little phallic.
I hate it. I hate it.
So this is some ASMR for you guys here.
I was just gonna say, I'm like, all right, if this political thing doesn't work out, we can do an ASMR
dog toy ASMR.
Yeah.
So the thing is, they were trying to nail him down on a national abortion ban, and Trump's whole shtick is, I'm leaving it up to the states. Of course, I reposted a video from Jessica Valenti talking about how that's utter bullshit because the states are not actually leaving it up to the people. But this is going to anger his evangelical base tremendously. Of course, his evangelical base wants him to sign a national abortion ban. That is why they installed him. They want him to use the Comstock Act to make abortion inaccessible. They do not want IVF to be legal. They want it to be a highly regulated industry and virtually inaccessible. And at one point, it was brought up, like, JD Vance says you guys will sign a national abortion ban, and he was like, well, what that guy says doesn't matter. He doesn't speak for me. It's like, well, you did.
He's like, you kind of married him. Like,
Yeah.
you guys kind of like you offered him a rose on The
Right.
Bachelor, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So,
and one of the interesting things Trump also said about Harris is there's no way that she could ever sign a Codify Roe bill because it'll never go to her desk. And I was like, fascinating. He's really just telling the women of this country, you can't do it. What a mensch, Challenge accepted, my bro.
Challenge accepted, my bro. Oh, all right. Well, now let's talk about some of the weird things that came up last night, because when he got frazzled, and it was so clear when he got frazzled, he just went off the rails, to the extent, like, my favorite, the Lincoln Project put out that great Simpsons meme of old man shaking fist at cloud.
Right. Which Tim Walz also made fun of him for. He was asked about his comments about Kamala Harris not being black, and he went on this like weird rant about it, about how she said she wasn't black, and he said some weird pseudosexual things that I think it's just literally an old man ranting. There was a lot of, if you read through the transcript of the debate, I wouldn't recommend it. It's a lot of the usual.
No, it doesn't make sense, actually.
It's the usual Trump parlance of going hither and dither because he can't keep a straight thought in his head. And it really shows, I think, the old versus young, the cogent versus incoherent foils of the debate. The side by side was wonderful.
Yeah. The side-by-side was so wonderful because I say this all the time. I think that how a candidate behaves when they're not speaking is almost as important as how they behave when they are speaking. And her face, she watched him. The hand on the chin. Oh my God.
Auntie, I see you. She, and he couldn't meet her eyes. And we've all had interactions with men like that who are feeling so emasculated by us that they can't even fucking deal with it. And
you can't even look at me.
Yeah, he couldn't. She went up and shook his hand. Power fucking move. The other thing I'll say is her beautiful shiny hair and his lackluster toupee with the little baby bangs, the wispy baby bangs.
Oh, the wispy baby bangs.
I know. It was the visual was enticing. I thought she looked fantastic. I loved her earrings. They're from Tiffany's. I'm already seeing a conspiracy circulating that they were earbuds. And
Shut up.
When that the MAGA thinks they lost because they are trying to blame everybody else. They're blaming the moderators, they're blaming earbuds, they're blaming this, that, you know what I mean? And because they lost. And it's good. Any other weird things?
I mean, I thought eating dogs was weird. He brought up World War III so many times.
I like that
So many
that
times.
Harris brought up Hannibal Lecter.
I was so excited when she brought up Hannibal
And
Lecter. Yeah.
Victoria Escobar was like, "Do you think that he knows the difference between insane asylums and people seeking asylum?"
No, actually, no, I don't. No.
Definitely not. I mean, he mixed up the states of West Virginia and Virginia repeatedly when talking about his belief that infanticide is legalized, which is, you know, I was thinking of making a reel about this because actually this talking point coming out of Republicans is profoundly offensive when you think about it. Yeah. So the thing that they are talking about is a radio interview in which a former governor of Virginia talked about people who give birth to babies who have fatal abnormalities and how after that baby is born, doctors have a discussion about end-of-life care with the parents, how to provide a baby born that has no ability to live with the end-of-life care. And what a horrifying experience for any parent to have. Yeah. And for them to use this as a political cudgel, as if Democrats are attempting to legalize this and promote this in some way, how disgusting. You know,
it was disgusting. It was disgusting.
It's disgusting. These poor parents experiencing one of the worst moments of their entire lives, and the Democrats are claiming, I mean, and the Republicans are claiming that Democrats just like want to promote this. Disgusting. No one wants this.
No one wants this. Well, and you know, the memes that I thought were really interesting going around late last night and early this morning are, you know, Trump was talking about executing babies, and you want to talk about executing babies? That's what happens when, you know, guns are so legal and you have no restrictions. Okay, it's been happening in schools all over the country.
Right. You know, and interesting, guns did not come up during the debate. It was brought up a couple times in as much as Harris talked about prosecuting gun traffickers, and Trump accused her of wanting to take away everyone's guns, and she said, no, I'm a gun owner. That's actually, people were shocked to learn this information. That is news we have known for quite a while. She has said she was a prosecutor. She owned it for personal safety issues. So, you know, I think it's interesting. I think that probably one of the reasons is for these swing voters that we are talking about, the 6% of the 6 states, guns are not that important of an issue. Statistically, they're showing that abortion and economic issues are the top issues. I know for a lot of the people listening, guns probably are the most important issue. The thing is, guns are sort of less of a complicated issue here because it's such a black and white. Like there is one side who wants it regulated, and there is one side who wants it free flowing like water in the public sphere. And there's only, you know, it's not a bipartisan issue. And I say this a lot, and it's not facetious. It's probably the least bipartisan issue. There's no compromise position left in this country. And so it's sort of like a almost not up for discussion thing. We know where Kamala Harris stands. She's made it exceptionally clear. But I do think that there's certainly some people who are disappointed, but I'll also sort of end by saying, like, the debate isn't everything. I think that this debate was really important because this was the second time Kamala Harris was on the national stage. The first was at her speech at the DNC. And for many, many Americans, they don't really know a lot about her. They've maybe heard something. I've talked to friends and family, and really they're like, I don't know if I've ever heard her speak before.
Yes, I hear that so much. Yeah, so often.
So often. And I think that if you are engaged, it's hard to remember that the vast majority of people are pretty disengaged. They've heard Kim Kardashian speak a lot more than they've heard Kamala Harris speak. And,
Fair point. Yeah.
And I think, you know, a lot of what she had to do last night, she's obviously has it harder as a Black woman, was to show that she is presidential. And there's lots of great clips of her talking about knocking down doors, and sometimes it's messy. And I really felt last night was a knocking down doors situation. And she definitely stepped up to the plate. There was no flubs because he can mess up 100 times. But if she messed up once, we'd all be talking about it. There weren't any serious flubs. I thought the vibes were impeccable. The look was impeccable. And I thought she hit a lot of high notes and set us up great for the final 2 months of the campaign, which are going to be hard won because, you know, people are very obsessed with polling, but it is down to the wire. It will be down to your state, Pennsylvania, and
I know.
random people.
It will be. Yeah. Well, and also,
lives in Bucks County.
Bucks County. Well, I'm from Bucks County. You know that. I grew up in Bucks County. The Newtown Aquatic Club was my gym growing up. That like creepy Republican stronghold where apparently also people are swingers. Like it's, I drive through Bucks County, which when I was growing up, I did not think this was even possible that it would become so MAGA. And I'm going there tonight. I have a book event there tonight. And there's Trump signs on so many yards. It's insane. So I will be door knocking in Bucks County.
Oh, wonderful.
And I will be, supporting, talking about this race at the book event tonight, which could actually get controversial. There will be some Trumpers at the book event. And I think that's the best thing we can do is to go to these places there are actual undecided voters.
Yep.
A lot of people that my mom knows in Bucks County are undecided, and I'm like, you talk about this at the dog park, okay?
Yep.
Like that's what you can do, Tracy.
For sure. I think that people are constantly saying like, I don't know how anyone could be undecided. I don't know. I don't understand a lot of things about people, lots of things, but like nonetheless, here we are. And what's absolutely critical is to convince them. And you can't do that in a single interaction.
The thing to remember about an undecided voter is that's exactly what they are, that they're looking to be swayed, and it could be you or it could be someone else. So why not you?
Exactly. And with that, we've got issues here for you. And in the future, excited to talk to you guys more.
Yes. We should tell people to sign up for Ripple too, because we've been working with a platform, ripplevote.org, which will let you text people to talk about the races in their state to make sure that people are registered to vote. It's a really easy way to reach out to your network. It's great. And then stay up on all of the things on the Substack at Emily in Your Phone on the Substack platform.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Good vibes only. Good vibes only right now.